The line behind Leonard Fournette to New York City in the Heisman Trophy presentation is mighty crowded, but we've got to make room for Deshaun Watson, Clemson's quarterback, dynamite again today in a primetime game against North Carolina State. Clemson wins it over NC State 56-41. Watson, 23 of 30, 383 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He now has 25 total touchdowns on the season today with a rushing touchdown and 54 on the ground. Okay, those are the numbers, but you have to see this kid play. He carried the Clemson Tigers on his back in a game in which the defense was not up to Clemson current standards for the Clemson program under Brent Venables on defense and Dabo Swinney. Watson again runs it. He throws it. He makes the right decision. He throws it on time. He has a laser arm. He is so speedy in the backfield and eluding the rush, and he knows when to pull it back and stay in the pocket and deliver the football. He's very smooth, very poised, and again, he shows that he is prepared on game day for the defense. Otherwise, not necessarily was I impressed much with the Clemson Tigers. We'll get to that in just a second. Wayne Gallman, underrated running back, carried it 31 times for $172 and a touchdown. We hear about Derrick Henry and the aforementioned Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, and other backs across college football. Samaje Perine as well. Wayne Gallman, a guy that has added a little shake and bake to his game, and he has gotten stronger later in his career. And again, he is the workhorse in the backfield for this football team and balancing out what Deshaun Watson does in the air game. In the absence of Mike Williams, who was the number one threat on this team on the outside, who is gone for the season due to a neck injury and will not make it back. Opposite new number one, Artavis Scott, Clemson with a number of wide receivers making big plays. They were down 20-19 last drive of the second quarter. And 3 plays, 70-some yards, and bam, they're on the scoreboard and go into halftime with the momentum up 26-20. Hunter Renfrow made some really nice catches in the passing game, 4 for 93 and a touchdown. He had a 57-yarder. Charone Peake, 3 for 64 and a touchdown. He had a 42-yarder, and it was Deon Cain as the Tigers took the field in the second half, only up 6, and went with a quick hurry-up offense. Deshaun Watson led it to a T. They scored very quickly, and just like that, Deon Cain for 40 yards. He caught 3 for 59 on the day, and that touchdown. And so those guys by committee replacing Mike Williams on the other side. Greg Hugel, also field goal kicker, 3 for 3 on the day. He's 12 for 14 on the season, so they have a dependable field goal kicker once they reach the ACC championship game, possibly the college football playoff, and maybe they'll need a field goal late against Florida State next week. Defensively, the cornerback position locked down with Mackenzie Alexander. Teams hardly test the kid. He is so good. There was a statistic noted during the game that he's only been thrown at 20 times this year for completions. On the other side, Cordrea Tankersley, 3 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. So he's almost as good as Alexander, certainly a capable player on the other side. Up front, you got Shaq Lawson, 12.5 sacks coming into the game. But this defense did not keep up with Jacoby Brissett and Matt Days before he was knocked out in the running game. They gave up plenty of points, as you can see, with 41, plenty of yardage on this day, 389. But it was in the turning point of that third quarter in which the defense got the stops that they needed to break free out to a 47-27 lead. So rugged first 5 or 6 minutes for the defense and giving up 2 touchdowns. Rough first half overall in really allowing big plays to Days and Brissett. Third quarter, they locked down, and then they gave up some garbage touchdowns with a 2-3 score lead. So the defense, statistically down day, but overall did what they needed to do against some playmakers for the NC State Wolfpack. Everyone's high on Clemson. Let's keep in mind that they have the one really impressive effort against Notre Dame at home 24-22, a game that they almost let slip away after holding a pretty commanding 15-point lead in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame dropped a ton of passes on that wet night at Clemson. Credit the win to Clemson, but again, Notre Dame didn't play its best and most crisp game on offense. Florida State next week, ACC championship game. Of course, the game against South Carolina won't be as difficult as it typically is. To date, aside from the Notre Dame game, this not necessarily the most impressive effort, although a 2-score win on the road against NC State. The other wins against Louisville and Georgia Tech, two teams that aren't nearly as good as they were in 2014. Need to hear from you on the Clemson Tigers and possibly NC State as well, right here on Mark Rogers TV.